Dr. Cutter with the Chainsaw Hospital, and today we're going to be working on this McCulloch Pro Max 610. And I'm going to get you in here a little closer so you can see this label here. But this is, there it is right there, if you can kind of see that. But either way, this Pro Max 610 was sitting in a shed for an unknown amount of years. I'm expecting it to be quite a few. Just because the chain is a little rusty here, and we might try to get that fixed and going for him. The chrome looks to be in okay shape, but he can always put a new chain on it. Got a little bird dropping right there. Got some leaves over here, so I'm not sure if it's set under the shed, in the shed. You know what I mean? Like, but somewhere like that. Maybe you know what I'm saying, like underneath of a roof, or actually in a building with the doors closed. It really doesn't matter. Here's some grass over here. Looks like there's just some seed heads or something like that. But let's check out the wristband here. And Gordon, so this saw's name is Gordon, and we need to get it running, and the chain is rusty. So we know that, you can see that, and I don't know how, again, don't know how long it's been since it ran. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through this thing and check a few, quick items and make sure we can kind of get it to run. And then probably, most of the time they need fuel lines, carburetor, something like that. But we don't know yet. We're going to get in here and we're going to check that out. So let's get in here a little closer, and we'll go through a few things here in just a second. But first, we're going to talk about the this hand guard here. This is massive. I guess they didn't want any chance of any accidental reaching over if the hand slipped off the guard, which is very, very safe. It just seems a little large for what it is, and this thing is heavy too for what it is. Either way, so the chain brake is right here. So if you engage the chain brake, you push forward on it, and you can see it locks the chain in. And then to release it, you just pull out on it, pull it back there a little bit. Air filter cover here, but here's the recoil. Got plenty of compression. It's very, very tight, which is good. That's going to be make it easier to get it started and get things fixed. So either way, let's get in here now, and we'll take a look at a few quick things, and then see if we can get it to have spark and check the air filter and things like that. So let's see what we got. Here's the power head, of the Pro Max 610. I'll get you in a little closer so you can see that label back there. So it does have a manual oiler override, which is this green button, but it has an automatic oiler too. We'll have to test that when we get it going. Yeah, but either way, so we'll just check the air filter while we're right here. Got this thumb screw kind of thing going on. Loosen that up. There we go. And just take a look underneath it here. That looks okay. This is a little broken, but does not affect anything at all. Air filter still in place. That's always a good sign that we're not going to have anything crazy going on. Wasp nest, dirt daubers, or anything built inside of this air box here. It's this little plate for the carburetor. That's how they did them back then. Fuel line looks good. Really, look how pliable that thing is. Must not have ever had ethanol in it. So there you go. There's the throttle. Throttle works. Looks like everything is moving okay. It's not sticking or stuck open, stuck closed. Choke down here. Looks like it's a simple flap that goes over the carburetor instead of a separate shaft and butterfly inside of there. That seems to be working okay. Not the most common design. I mean, it's been done, but I guess I'm just used to working on those ones with the separate shaft and all that. So that's okay. We're just going to leave that air cleaner off for now. Maybe get this grass out of there. So again, I don't know exactly where it came from, but either way, that's that. We tested the chain brake already, so that was okay. What else? The recoil looks like it's okay. Got plenty of compression. I'll tell you what, let's pull the plug out. The plug is right underneath it here. we'll just pull this plug out and check for sparks so we're not killing ourselves trying to pull this thing over and not have any sparks to try to get it to go. Alright, so looks like a 19 millimeter 3/4 fit on the spark plug, so this wasn't a 5/8 or something weird. Probably a WSR6 or something, RCJ6Y. Okay. So we'll need that. We'll need to find a ground somewhere. Alright, we got the tip of the plug right here. And what I'll do is I'll roll it over like this. What I'm going to do is turn the lights off so we can get a good view of this spark plug. We might be able to see it. Oh yeah, I can see it like that. But let's turn the lights off so we can get a really good view of it. Alright, here we go. We're going to try to pull this thing over and see if we got anything. I see it. That's a good sign. Alright, that's cool. We got spark. I got good compression. Hopefully the timing is okay. And we won't have any issues. It should pop off. Again, don't know if the carburetor has got anything. What we're going to do is going to check the exhaust port, make sure we don't have anything, dirt daubers, again, wasp nests, stink bugs, anything that might cause an issue in there. And this looks mostly complete, like it was left together again, which is a good thing. You want to make sure these things are left the way they came from the factory if you're going to store them, because there's nothing built in there. That looks okay. Looks like we could pull that off. Might be a pain, but it looks good to me. And again, the air filter was ready to go. So got the spark plug back in. Oh, gas tank. We'll kind of check that to make sure we don't have anything weird going on there. There is something that looks like gas in there. If you can see it shaking, kind of sloshing around in there. What I'm going to do is put some fresh gas on top of this. Well, what I'll do is I'll dump this out first, and then I'll put some fresh gas on top of it, slosh it around a little bit, make sure there's nothing weird going on in there, and get rid of some of that old stuff that's in there. Let's see if we can grab this fuel line and filter. Yeah, oh, that's very, very pliable. Let's see if we can get that thing out of there. I think the filter is massive. I like to pull the filters out just to make sure they are okay. Yeah, see all that gunk on there? Yeah, we need to get this. Does that just come out of there? Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, it does look like there is 2-cycle gas and oil in there, and there's a lot of oil in the filter itself. So we'll probably get rid of some of that junk out of there. We'll clean this out with a little bit of brake parts cleaner, just to get rid of some of this junk out of there. And again, we'll flush some fresh gas through there too. I just kind of flush this off. You can see how much cleaner it is. It looks like it was flowing fuel perfectly fine. It was no issues at all with that. We'll just shove that back down in there, twisting it and pushing it at the same time. It's an interesting setup, if they've ever seen that before, but there it is nonetheless. So let's dump this out. I've got a funnel here, and I'm going to get a jar. There's a jar I'm going to use to just catch this old stuff. And let's see if we can get this on video for you guys, because I know you like to see these things. Here we go. Oh, man. Look at that mess coming out of there. But nonetheless, there's what's been out of there already. So let's just put some mix in there. And this is 2-cycle mix, Opti 2. Around 40-1 or so. Again, just making sure we don't have any crazy dirt down in there or dried up 2-cycle, which I've seen that, where it just turns into a real gummy mess. I'm just using this gas as a solvent. I am good with that. So that's not how strong I mix my 2 cycles. I think the gas evaporated out of it. So we got that flushed out. You know, we might go ahead and throw some gas down in the tank here, just in case it does want to run on its own. It'll have something to pick up, and then we can maybe get this thing going. All right, we got some gas down in there, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get you guys back there again, and we'll pull on this a few times and see if we can get it to light off. Now that we have that fresh gas, and I'll use my trick where I put a little fuel right down through here. So what I'll do is I'll use this. This is called the Unitary wash bottle from Nalgene, and I'll put a link to this down below. Oops, but I use this all the time for you know, putting fuel right down where I need it. So what I'll usually do is I'll tip the saw up like this, and I'll just squirt it right down underneath of this cover and right into the carburetor. And then I'll usually pull the throttle once, and that'll dump that fuel right up, right into the cylinder there. And if it's reeds, it'll flush it right against the reed valve. But there that goes. So let me get you backed up here, and then we'll try to get this thing started. Got the gas cap on. Got the carburetor opened up there so we can get some fuel in there. This is okay. If it starts turning, it'll turn or whatever it needs to do. We did not put any oil in here. We might go ahead and put some oil in here while we're at it. Man, that is on tight. I didn't even check that. Wow. Well, they did not make this easy. Well, if you've got a mostly empty jug, you will not be getting any in there. I don't know what they were thinking. We're going to get some wool down in there. Thankfully, this jug isn't very empty. You see what I mean? This hand guard is right in the way, right above the hole where you fill. Fun fact on this saw, this is actually, this Promax 610 was used in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and this is what Clark Griswold actually owned in that movie. All right, so we got that tightened up. What's next? We're gonna tilt it up like this, and we're gonna throw a little amp of epi, a little gas right down the throat there. Make sure we got some in there. Yeah, most of it got in there. Real easy to spill there, but we got it. Okay, so we got that on-off switches right back here, right to the left of the trigger and all that assembly. Somebody had taped down this trigger interlock, which is fine. Whatever. But let's see what we got. Let's see if we can pull this thing over and get a little something to happen. All that looks okay. Make sure I got the plug wire back on there. Okay. Okay, got a little pop there. I didn't set the choke. Maybe I should. I figured with that much gas in it, probably didn't need to. Well, that's okay for now. We're going to take this outside, do a little bit more testing with it. So let's do that. All right, we got our Promax 610 here. This McCulloch. And we didn't really get it running enough to really check the oiler or anything. I'm just manually pumping it here to see if I can get anything to maybe come out. But anyways, let's get this thing started up, see if we can get it started again, and we'll go from there. So we'll pull the choke out. Let's see what we got. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to check these jets. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check these jets first and see if we can figure out where they're set at. So what I'm going to do is get in here. Let me show you. So here's the jets right inside of here, and I'm going to take the high and I'm going to turn it all the way in, lightly bottom it out, and then back it out, one turn. But let's see where it's at first. So I'm turning it in, and okay, it was only open a quarter of a turn. So I'm going to open it a half and then one full turn. And then the low is, that's a half, that's one full turn, 1.5. So we'll do 1, 2. The low seemed pretty good, so I'm going to leave it at 1.5, and we'll adjust the high as we go. Let's see if it'll get off of that idle a little bit better. So what we'll do is we'll set our choke and make sure our switch is on. Might not need the trigger lock. It's plenty warm today. Let's see what we got. All right, well, it did bark a little bit, so I'm going to push the choke off. So now it's just at a normal idle. And I'm going to put this screwdriver somewhere else so I won't stab myself. And let's see what we got here. I'm going to say the low is a little rich. Just starting off because it's really blowing that blue smoke out. And it seems like it's a little sluggish and the idle is really low. So I'm just going to turn it in. I would do this while it was running, but I know it's hard for you guys to hear. So I just wanted to do that real quick. So ignition switch on. Hopefully it'll fire up on one pull. Okay, so that sounds really good, actually. You guys saw this thing start up from absolutely dead. The oiler is working. It looks like it's oiling up this chain very well, and it looks like it's a little loose now. We can fix that later. We might go ahead and pull this side cover off and just inspect the clutch, drum, the rim sprocket, and all that kind of stuff. We'll get back in the bench and do that. I'm just going to lean this out a little bit while it's running and see if I can get it to just start four stroking as I open up that high speed jet a little bit. If you need help actually tuning a carburetor, especially by ear without a tack, just tuning it. You saw what I did there. I set the initial adjustments pretty much what I thought they would be 1 to 1.5 out. And then, but check out this video right up here, and that's an 028 steel that I did named Kaiser, and I made a really what I think is a decent tutorial on how to tune a chainsaw by ear with wood. I've got a piece of wood there that I'm actually testing on. I think that might help you out. So check that out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, what I'm going to do is actually lean out this high just a little bit and start it back up. That was about 1/4 of a turn. And what I'm going to do is kind of listen for it to see if it's four stroking with no load on it. So let's start it up and see what we got. So I kind of got that high speed tuned. I tweaked on that low just a little bit. I gave it a little bit more gas. Lefty loosey that low jet a little bit, because when you turn in the high jet, you're actually shutting a little bit of fuel off, and so I was just kind of compensating for that. But that's just, again, the video will show you all those good things. So what I'm going to do now is actually going to crank this thing up, let it sit here on the ground, and let it idle for maybe 5 minutes. And I know that sounds strange, but that'll actually tell you a lot of things. So if this all loads up while it's sitting there, which means it's getting too much fuel at idle, you'll kind of see that. If you got a bearing or a crank seal going bad, you'll see that it'll lose its tune. It'll act weird when you throttle it up again. But it's just a nice way to just kind of sanity check everything. But yeah, the oiler is doing great. But yeah, so let's start it up. I'll set the camera here and let it kind of idle just for a little bit, and we'll see what happens. All right, there you go. Uh, Gordon, the ProMac 610 is up and running. Didn't take much, just a few little things. The chain I'll probably touch up. It looks brand new, just a little rusty, but I really don't think that's an issue. But either way, what I'm gonna do is go back inside, and then we'll kind of go through everything and just make sure everything's okay. But man, this thing runs great. Heavy, but it runs great. So I'll take that. Let's see if it'll start back up after sitting there idling. No choke, no throttle lock, just turning the ignition switch on. Should be one pull. Perfect. All right. Yeah, let's go inside.